Hello, welcome back to Making It with Minglet. Today I'm doing something different. I am going to be playing with my watercolors, and as you can see, my watercolors are kind of messy, and I have some that are almost empty, and I want to see if I can do something to maybe fill those slots that are empty. And I happen to have two daughters, and they are all the time, buying stuff and not using it, and, it ends up being donated. Well, people don't really accept donations of eyeshadows, even if they have not been used. So, this is like a palette that my daughter waited on forever, and it was close to $100. So I think that this would make a good candidate for some paint. And I happen to need this color green. Now, how am I going to get there? Well, first off, I have this tool right here that has like a little scoop on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's adjust the camera just a little bit. I'm filming on the phone today because the computer has been picking up a noise from the fan. My husband's offered to get me a new computer, and I would take him up on it if I didn't know I'd mess it up here in the craft room, because my computer currently is covered in speckles of paint. No matter how careful I am, it's probably not careful enough. Okay, so I'm breaking this up into little pieces, and I'm going to take the scoop end, and I'm going to try to transfer it into the hole that had kind of a green in it. And I know you're probably thinking, now what is she going to do next? We know, because we've seen people use eyeshadows, that you can use them like you would a watercolor paint, or like you would mica. I mean, there's so many, it's so versatile. And rather than have this very expensive palette doing nothing but being thrown away, basically. If it was donated to Goodwill, it'd get thrown away. She probably could have sold it for $50, but she didn't want to fool with it, and that was all right, because I said, hey, wait a minute, I can use that. So we actually had so much makeup at one point that they were discarding because they think it's outdated, and I just don't think eyeshadows go out of date. They may go out of style, but not out of date. But we checked into local shelters. We thought that it might be something that we could take to women. We've learned how to sanitize it if it had been used, and the closest one is like 45 minutes away that would be willing to take it. So we just try to find, young women that would like to have it. Now, I'm patting this down in here, and I think that it will, I've got a little bit of water in there, but I also know that I can spray it with alcohol, and the alcohol will evaporate, leaving what should be equivalent to what was in a palette to start with, which I think is kind of cool. But we're going to give it a test and see how it does, because I've been making these cards to go in the journal, the mushroom journal, and I actually have drawn some mushrooms on book pages, and I have some that need to be painted. So I thought, okay, I'll give this a try. So it is definitely packing down in there pretty good. All right. So that's the green. Let's see if there's I've got a pink that's almost gone. So Okay, this was an alien theme, so the color green is called Abduction. And then I have this pinkish color that's Phone Home. And it's not exactly the same color pink that was in my palette, but you know I love the saying, if it's not free, you pay too much. So that being said, we're going to try to put this together, and I don't know what it'll turn out like. It may look like goose poop, but it may just work. And if it does, then, you know, I've filled my palette up and I haven't spent any additional money. So for me, that's a win-win. This is kind of a mauve-y color, and it is not my favorite color, as many of you probably know. I don't mind pinks necessarily, but when it comes to mauve, it's just a color that my mother, when it was in style, every room in the house had mauve, and I just got very tired of it. So I don't have anything mauve in my house. My house is full of colors, though, I will tell you. But we're kind of a combination between very traditional. We've got very traditional pieces because they've been passed down through our families. And everything else just kind of works around it. But our house itself has a modern look on the outside. Oh, this one's patting down very nice. Look at that. Can you see? And what I can do is, as I use it, you know, I can come back and refill it until I get all of these emptied out into some container. I don't have individual palettes or the little tiny palettes. I thought about getting some of those, but I said, well, you know, I really like this little kit. This is my first adult watercolor, so needless to say, it's kind of special. Now, I see one more that I can go ahead and use, and that would be the purple. There's still a little bit in there, but I can go ahead and, this one is called Area 51. So we're gonna break up Area 51 here. Don't tell the government. And this was just one of this was the palette that was on top. I have numerous palettes that have these really, really bold, highly pigmented. You get these on your skin, and you're not just washing your hands to get it off. It takes a lot more than that to get it cleaned off. So I want to be very careful with it because it does have a lot of punch in the pigment. But my girls, they love their makeup, and they love their colors, you know, to coordinate with their outfits. It's not, when I was growing up, you know, people either wore blue or green eyeshadow. It wasn't like there was a variety of colors. But I mean, I'm kind of the same when I'm dressing up to go out. I match my eyeshadow to whatever color I'm wearing most of the time. If I'm just staying at home, I don't do the makeup thing. I just don't do it. And I guess you can tell I'm kind of hoarse. We were outside. Our final race of the season for our local racetrack was Saturday. And that's always kind of like a sad thing because it's like, okay, summer's over and fall's coming. So we kind of shift gears. We still have a few races that are in a different series, but we shift to getting things done around the house, especially yard work. We overseed our yard. You know, we try to get grass to grow in places it don't want to grow. And we've been, every year since my husband retired, we've put forth a pretty good effort, and we've made progress, but we still have, you know, these spots that just because the drainage, the way the water drains off of it, and the trees, the roots of the trees around it are big oak trees. We've got one that's, I can't even get my arms all the way around it. It's huge. So its root system is pretty much all over this particular hill. And there's several oak trees that are, drawing the water off of that. So it makes a difference. It's hard to grow things when you have to struggle. All right, now I'm going to close this and carefully move it back. So that I don't dump out that powder, because if I do, it's going to be a very, very big mess. So I was playing yesterday and I did this and I really like it. So I put some paint on it this morning. This is off of a Trader Joe's bag, and when I saw it, I thought it was hysterically funny. So I just took a scrap piece of cardstock and I watercolored around it. And I've got these mushrooms that I'm painting. So I'm going to do a few of those with you, and then I'm going to show you how I ended up using them. Let's clean my tool. And I'm going to put it back, because if I don't do that now, it will be lost and I won't know where it's at. So let's try this purple and see what happens. Wow, look at that deep color. Looks like eggplant. I love eggplant. It's a strange vegetable, and it's definitely an acquired taste. I didn't grow up eating them because I don't think we really knew what they were, but my husband's family grew up, well, my mother-in-law grew up in a Greek community, and they definitely eat eggplant in a variety of different ways. So that's when I learned to love it. But I cheat. When I was growing up, if we'd have had it, it would have been fried, because we fried everything. I don't know why, but it's just the way my parents were raised. That's vegetables like okra, squash, zucchini. We had eggplant, it definitely would have been sliced and battered and deep fried, because, in the South, that's what we do. We fry things. But I'm lazy. I cut it and I put it in a bowl of ice water with a pinch of salt, which is the way Bill's grandmother said, the proper way to cook it. And the reason for that is it helps take some of the bitterness out of it. So that being said, it improves the flavor. Now, this is that green. And it's working pretty good. But now, I didn't get it packed down. I think having the water in there made a difference. So, if you do it, pack it in the hole dry. And then spray it with some alcohol and let it settle. And then it will be like a solid, just like your paints are anyway. So there's our first mushroom, and we're going to use that mauve. Lord help us. I don't believe I'm doing this, but we're going to do it. We're going to use that mauve, and we're going to get it on the outside. And as you can see, I am not a great artist. I do simple art, but I'm proud of myself, because I have started, watching people that draw and trying to duplicate what they do, especially if they're doing like a step-by-step. And I also found some really helpful things, and I made a folder on my Pinterest account to where I have like doodles. And there's people that actually give you step-by-step instructions on how to make certain things. And that's free. It didn't cost me anything to get those lessons, so to speak. So keep that in mind. If you want to look for me, I am on, you'll find me under Minglet. Or my name. I think it's Minglet though. On Pinterest. And you can see if you go into my account, I've got the doodles in a folder. And it's anything that I think I see that I might be able to doodle, or instructions. I try to scoop them up so that when I do need something to help me, get through a project or do something outside of my norm, I have something there. I have a good resource for it. And I have to tell you, this is working fine. It's not clumping. It's very workable. So I think that I would consider this experiment a successful one. I did not mess up. I did all right on this. All right, now let's get some green in here for grass. Like I said, I don't watercolor often, but I have been playing with them more and more. And when I started doing this, I thought, I think these will be cool. Now, I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm going to pull my journal over that I've been working on. You were with me when I started this. This is a bag that I had gel printed, and then I came back and I put pieces on it. But I want to show you the different ways I've used mushrooms. And I'm going to move my camera around so that you can see. This is just paper. This is just paper out of a book. And these are the little pieces that come in a pack that you can get at the craft stores. And I've just added them to note cards. And this, I think, turned out really cool. This was an abstract gel print. And I think that card looks neat and looks classy. There's one of my gel prints. That's Darcy Sanders mushrooms. And I can't remember their name right off, but you'll find it at PM Artist Studio. I'm getting close to having it done. But look how simple these are. It did not take me no time. What I did was I took some of the book pages down and put them beside my chair in the living room. Oh, this is one of my things I think is hilarious, really. I don't know. You may appreciate it and you may not. Some days I feel as useless as the G in lasagna. And that is a note card. Now you see, these are simple. These are very quick, easy fixes. But I think they're simple, but they're pretty. And here's kind of a weird mushroom. That's the all-seeing eye, the God's eye, that's used in Greek. A lot of people that are Greek will use those. This is something I found on Pinterest. It's kind of funky and fun. That is a foot from one of my woodstock birds that I made. And that's where I had the cutout.
Call from Barrier, Angela.
Sorry about the phone. You can tell when it's 9 o'clock, they start calling for dumb stuff. But there you have it. I think you get the idea. So maybe you could give yourself a chance to create some mushrooms. Make it simple. Make it fun. Let's see if there's any more that I want to make sure you see. Look at that. Piece of cake. Well, I think that's all for today. I appreciate you coming along. I thank you in advance if you will hit that thumbs up and like my video. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I put out videos generally about once a week. Sometimes I'll do more. But, I try to make them fun. I try to make them interesting. And I enjoy sharing my love of the art. It's like therapy for me. So this particular journal is going to be donated to clusterbusters.org. And they will have it in a raffle. And every year that I've done it, people have, been almost fighting over it, which, I think it's just because I made it. But I think it is good to be able to give back to my community. And it's good to, help organizations that help other people and help them to feel better about lifelong conditions that affect their health. So, as always, I want to say be well, my friends, and thank you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.